Hi everyone, my name is Vian and you are watching the channel Without a Wire, where we look at everything a smart home can throw at you. In today's video I will share with you some tips and tricks that I use to prepare for a home automation installation to make things a little faster and make sure that everything works before you install them. For this video I'll be using a Sonoff basic Wi-Fi switch, but this technique applies to any other device that would require electricity for an installation. This is really just some safety tip so that you don't have to switch on and off your DB board whilst doing the installation. Doing this is also not healthy for many appliances and devices that you have in and around your home. We will also look at a basic setup process so that you know how to set these devices up. Hi everyone and welcome back. So in today's video I'll show you how to set these up and some tips and tricks that I use for installations. What you would want to do with these are actually to set them up prior to installation, because you don't want one of these installed in a roof or hard to reach place and then find out that you are struggling to set it up or that it doesn't work. So let's get started. So let's have a look at what's in the box. Obviously you'll have your little Sonoff basic Wi-Fi switch. You'll have a couple of screws. These screws will be used to fasten these gaps once you've connected your cables. And then there's also a little booklet with very helpful instructions as to how to set up the switch in all the modes that is available to set the switch up with. Very intuitive, very easy to follow, and if you follow the instructions on that manual you would not have any problem setting this up. For this one you've got a input and output, so your power source would come on this side and whatever you want to control would have a cable going out on that side. So what I normally do, I have some cables that I've made up already. So this is a normal 2-point plug with some lugs at the end. That just makes it easier for me to get the power cables connected to those little lugs inside the switch. So for today's one I'll use a UPS cable, because I've got a UPS right over there. Normally when I do remote installations I take a UPS with me as well, because if you get to a customer's house it's often difficult to find a workspace, and having a UPS nearby with your own made up cable makes it a bit easier to find a little space where you can quickly connect these. So why I'm doing it this way is because you can actually connect the switch without having any power, and this is a very important safety feature for me. A lot of people show videos of installations where you need to test for power and switch off the DB board to make sure there's no power, test again just to be safe. So this is overly complicated for me, especially when I need to install many of these. I would like to set them up, test them, make sure they work before I do the proper installation at someone's house. What I normally use is I use a nice voltage tester to test whether there are actually power coming through, and I'll show you how that works in a moment. So let's get started. Let me show you how to set this up. So on the input side I'm just removing the little cover, and you can see there's a live and a neutral point there. So what I do is these lugs are positioned to fit nicely in there, and all I'll do is I'll just fasten the little screws in there. Let me just test it. See, it's nice and firm and it's not loose. And now you can actually connect power safely to the switch without electrocuting yourself. Okay, so let's go through the setup for these little switches once you connected the wires. Obviously not connected to power yet. So there's two ways of setting up these little switches. The first is compatibility mode. I recommend compatibility mode if the switch has been bought and sitting on the shelf for a while. What I find normally when you get these new switches, they are a version or two behind on the firmware, and if that's the case, the quick setup, which I will take you through in a moment, does not work properly, and you would actually need to revert back to the compatible mode. Let me take you through the compatibility mode first. So let's connect the switch to power. You'll see a little LED light goes on. Let's go over to our EWLink app. You will see the plus sign at the bottom. Click that. You'll see the compatibility mode at the bottom, and then there's some instructions. So you need to plug and replug the device, which we've done. Long press for 5 seconds, which I've done already, and then let's press the third instruction, which says long press pairing button for 5 seconds until the indicator blinks constantly. There we have it. Then it will take you to your Wi-Fi, the device. Click on the device, and you'll see the device comes up in your Wi-Fi. So in your Wi-Fi, you then choose the device, put in the password, which is in your little manual and up on the screen at the moment. And then once it pairs with, once it connects to the Wi-Fi on the device, you can then go back into your app. Once you're back in the app, click Next, click on Join. Change the name of the device, and it shows up on the screen, in this case at the top, the spare switch, and you can test it and see if it works. Now let's look at the quick setup, because this device has the latest firmware and the quick setup should be easy. Let's connect the device again. Go to your EWLink app in your phone and click on the little plus sign at the bottom. Quick pairing. You can add one device, multiple. Check your Wi-Fi settings and click Next. It will then run a scan for the device. You would see it's looking for the device, and then it will retrieve the device info. These two items would have been done already when you set up the switch with a compatible mode. Now let's just wait and see that it connects. Retrieving device info. Registering the device. Sending to network, and there's your device. And you can rename the device and save it. Go back into the app, and there's your spare switch at the top. You can also test whether it's working on and off. Okay, so now that you've seen how we set up the device, let me show you how the little tester works. I bought this little tester. It's a little 3-in-1, doesn't require battery, and it's quite reliable. All I really need to test is whether there's power and whether I have a live and neutral. So if you put these two connectors on the live and the neutral, you should see the first two lights coming on. So let's test that. See the first two lights coming on, which means that we are running 220 volts, and this basically means that I have a live and a neutral connected there. So this is the way I test for voltage or electricity when I do installations. Nice and simple. Doing it this way would help you save some time and not have your DB board switched on and off constantly or switch off for too long whilst you are busy with the installation. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and do the YouTube shuffle. Subscribe to the channel and ding the bell icon so you can get notifications for future content on this channel.